Hey, how we doing out there again tonight, Vol Nation? Let's talk some basketball tonight. I recorded a football video earlier, kind of what I've rounded up as to what I feel's been going on the last couple of days. Didn't get to address, some of the stuff going on yesterday. With it, of course, last night we went live for the debacle in Gainesville, and we talked about it Saturday against after the Arkansas game where Tennessee drilled Arkansas. And we said there's going to be one of these games where Tennessee's on the receiving end of it. And last night was that game. And I think the biggest eye opener in it was how much more physical Florida was than Tennessee was. I think that was the one thing that stood out to me. I mean, the offense was historically bad last night. It was some of the worst numbers ever put up by a team, and that was honestly, to me, possibly the worst offensive performance of the Rick Barnes era last night. But I think it warrants discussion because there's been a lot of freak out over it. Now, I'm seeing stuff, well, his team wasn't that good. They're overrated and such. It's one game. It is one game. This team has looked really good throughout the season. That Illinois win, they went on the road at Illinois. That was a really good win. Let's not mistake that. Yeah, let's don't ignore what happened last night. Okay, it was bad. It was really bad. I mean, the team goes almost 7 minutes without even scoring to begin the game. And you look at some of the numbers last night. I mean, they shot in the first half, field goal percentage wise, they shot 13.8%, 0% from 3 point line. And then they did shoot 87.5% from free throws in the first half. Second half, a whopping 29.6% field goals, a whopping 26.7% three pointers, 47% free throws. So for the game last night, they shot 21% from field goals. We'll say 13.8% three pointers, 60% free throws. They were awful across the board shooting it. And it was a combination. I mean, Ziegler, 4 out of 12. Lanier, 3 out of 16. Milicic, 2 out of 7. Jordan Gainey, 1 out of 11. I mean, you had Dubar 0 for 3, Boswell 0 for 1, Meshack 0 for 3 along the way. And some of these three-point numbers were horrific. This is enough, again, historically bad night. I'm not even going into all the historic thing, this was the worst since blah, 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 or none of that. No, let's just cut it bad. It was historically bad to me. And there's been some bad offensive performances in Tennessee basketball history. Is this the worst? I don't know that it's the worst, but it's got to rank up there very high. It's got to rank up there very high for it. Here's what I want to see from this team. And Rick Barnes said in the post game, maybe this is good for us. I don't think that's exact words for it, but sometimes it happens. You look at Ohio State football, they lost to Michigan the last game of the year. They had no business losing to Michigan. Look at what they're doing now. They've drilled Tennessee, they've drilled Oregon along the way. There's other instances as well of teams. Sometimes you kind of get that come to Jesus or that come down to earth loss that kind of puts things in perspective for your program. For me with it, again, if you would have told me going into this game that Tennessee would only allow Florida 73 points last night, I would have thought we're in good shape, that we possibly even win that game by double digits. And not to be 43 points. Tennessee loses by 30 points last night. And again, let's put it in perspective. It was bad, but does that define this team? No. Are we going to define this team on one game and just ignore the other 14 games along the way? Was Florida the best team Tennessee's faced? I don't know if they are. They might be, but I think that Illinois team is pretty dang good. I think Arkansas is going to be pretty dang good. I think Florida's really good too. Don't get me wrong. So I'm not going to necessarily say they're the best. They were the most, they out physical Tennessee. They out Tennessee last night. And I think when you go back, if you're Rick Barnes and look at it, Rick Barnes is going to be pretty upset over the shooting nights happen. He's going to have a bigger problem with them getting just smoked on the boards. And they got smoked badly last night. They got smoked. Let's see here. What was it 56 to 37 is what it said. Last night it said 55. They've actually added a rebound today. So Tennessee got beat by 19 points. And, you look at the percentages Florida shot. Field goal percentage 39.7, 3-point 30%. So Tennessee's defense was not that bad last night. But, you look at the rebounds here. They had two guys in double digits rebounds. Condon 12. Chinyuli, I think how it was pronounced, with 15 rebounds. Those guys just had their way in there. And, I thought Okpara, you've got Lanier, Milicic, and Okpara all had 7 rebounds each, but you didn't have much more with that. And, to me, we've said we need to see more out of Okpara. I thought he was Tennessee's best player last night. I thought he had a presence in there, but he can't do it. No guy can do it on their own with it. Just, an ugly night. The turnovers, they had 12 turnovers. They only had 6 assists last night. So that's a really bad night when you've got a 2-to-1 turnover to assist ratio. And I mean that in a negative way. I don't mean you had twice the assists and turnovers on it. So here's what I want to see on it. How does this team bounce back when they go down to Texas on Saturday, 6:00? I think you'll see this team bounce back and win. Texas, they're one of those teams. They're decent, but I think Tennessee's better. And I think Tennessee will go down there and take care of business on Saturday. Just my opinion. We'll see on it. I could be wrong. If Tennessee were to get drilled again, I don't see it happening on Saturday. Maybe we have some concern at that point. And, let's look at some roster perspective here. You've got some guys beat up right now. I've seen people keep saying, well, I don't know why Barnes and staff didn't add him. There's nobody out there to add. You don't just, if you could get a guy who could come in and contribute, yes. How many times has Tennessee really done this over the history of the program? I can think of 2 times. They added Freddie DeLeon a couple years ago, but he was added more to get him ready, which he was never ready last year. Santiago Vescovi come in, immediately was inserted in the starting lineup. Jarnell Stokes was brought in during the Conzo Martin era, was immediately a factor in that rotation. Other than that, again, DeLeon was added, 2 years ago? But he wasn't added to provide immediate depth. He was added more or less to, I think the hope was to jumpstart his development and hopefully him be a contributor last year. And he was not much of a contributor, which led to him leaving the program. So I think that's the perspective, is it's not like they add every year. There was talk of Amari Evans enrolling, but I don't know if it would have been to add a body now or similar with Freddie DeLeon to kind of kick up his development as well, because he's definitely going to be needed next year. But, if you want to overreact to this, that's fine. Yeah, it was a historically bad shooting performance last night, but the defense was still good. The defense was good enough to win that basketball game against a very good offense. Again, maybe that is the best team Tennessee played so far, but they've played a few good ones. I think Illinois is going to be up there as well. Again, my question is, how do they answer? You've got Texas on Saturday. Then you've got Georgia, who beat Kentucky last night. And then you've got, I think it's Vanderbilt after that. The bottom line with it is, in the SEC, it's dog eat dog. It's going to be a buzzsaw of a conference. It's going to be knockdown, drag out. I can use all the cliches that we want to use. If you don't bring it in conference, you're going to get your butt whipped. That's what it boils down to it. So, again, I'm still going out of 15 games. That was one bad game. I'm still going by a body of work with it. Recruiting. I thought this was pretty big news. It's been talked about for a bit, but 5-star Braden Burries is supposed to visit Tennessee the weekend. It's January 21st when they host Mississippi State. That should be a really good game. Of course, this Saturday they'll be at Texas, and then you've got a couple. Let me see it. So today's the 8th. That's actually going to be a midweek game. That's not a Saturday. I apologize. That'll be a midweek game between Tennessee and Mississippi State. Tennessee is getting him on campus. According to On3, they rank Burries as the number 12 player overall, number 1 combo guard in the country, number 2 overall prospect in California. And at some point, I don't know the year, his mother played for, was it Lady Vols softball? I believe it was. Now I'm thinking I saw that she did transfer out at some point, but there is some connection there as well. So, you get them to campus. Who's to know what could happen? And this Tennessee team, they have spots. They have spots. Now it says that this will be his 5th official visit. He's taken visits to Arizona, SMU, Alabama, and Oregon. He's been unofficially to UCLA and USC. I don't see anything right now on when his time frame is. It does say here, I talked to them a lot. Also, my mom played softball there, so there is a relationship. They got a great program, and they play hard and get up and down. There's lots of playing time available next year with Lanier, with Ziegler, with Meshack, with Milicic, all graduating, Gainey, Dubar. So you got opportunity there. So I think Tennessee looks pretty good here. They just had a visit from Collins. Let me find the name here on it. They don't have it listed on all 3. His brother played St. Louis a couple years ago. It was thought he was coming to Tennessee, and he did not. But Collins, he's a guard. He visited this past weekend, I think it was, for the Arkansas game. Burries has visited. They've had Chance Mallory, who's been on campus. I've seen what it looks like. I've seen Rob Lewis, VolQuest.com, talk about things look pretty good there for Tennessee. So Tennessee still, and then they're still in on Ament out of Virginia. They're in on Caleb Wilson as well. I don't know how serious those are. It looks like with Ament, that's the one they're the deepest in on. Can Tennessee close these recruitments? If you add 3 guys of that quality, possibly even 4, that's a really good class. And then that gives you some flexibility to go to the portal. And I don't imagine you'll see Tennessee take scholarships with them moving forward into the season. Not after what's happened this year with the Estrella injury and then Cam Carr just up and hitting the road the way he did, which is still baffling to me. But there's some Tennessee basketball talk. Like I said, I'm gonna talk a few sports. I'm gonna bring a few different things. I know there's people that like every sport, like me. There's some that they're more attached to other sports than others, so it makes sense for me to do it. And I would have liked to have done it earlier in the day. It's just not possible there as well, unless I want to get up at like 4:30 and do it. And I really didn't feel like doing that this morning. So we got to have that discussion about Tennessee basketball. I don't think it's that deep. I think you got smoked last night. You take it, you move forward with it. How they respond to it is going to tell me more about them than what last night did. Again, because I mentioned earlier, we talked it Saturday. We said there's going to be one of these performances like Arkansas, where Arkansas got their butts whipped. Well, Tennessee got it last night as well. So again, you're free to react how you want to last night. I'm not freaking out over it. I'm just not. If they go on a string of getting their butts whipped, yeah, we might freak out. It's still a really good basketball team, and it's a really good conference this year. So it is what it is. We'll see where it's at. But I think, in a night of a lot of negatives, the recruiting is looking pretty good right now. If Tennessee can close on some of these recruitments, they might be able to have them a really nice class as they rebuild next year or reload, ever what you want to call it. Frank, House of Orange got one more coming tonight. We'll talk some baseball here as well as some preseason accolades come out today on, a couple returners, and perfectgame.com released their top 75 freshmen, which I thought was pretty interesting. And there might be some discrepancies in that one. Then we'll talk it as well. Frank, House of Orange, have a great evening. Go Vols.